Hello, water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Let's get into it. We're going to do a collective reading for all water signs, and then I will clarify the cards for each individual water sign. I will leave a comment pinned with timestamps. Let's get into it. This is for my water signs. Thank you for being here. First card out, we have the World, a brilliant success, the freedom to go in any direction, a journey that is now complete. This is your internal energy. So water signs, you are so ready for the new, okay? And it makes a lot of sense because the next card jumping out is the Ten of Spring. Ask for help from others, all work and no play, being weighed down by too many responsibilities. So you are really ready to let it all go right now, water signs, because you've been overburdened. You are carrying too much right now, and it is affecting you, being able to really open yourself up to all of the opportunities that surround you. Your advice is the Two of Summer. Love may be in the air here, the end of summer. For my water signs, this is falling in love or making a serious commitment to someone. Forgiveness and the resolution of a problem. Don't give up. Your relationship can be healed. All right, so this is definitely a really intense reading, but it's extremely positive, right? I feel like we're coming out of the fire, like you can see the fire behind her, and we are entering into this magical new space, new world, and new love is here. And for some of you, this may be a new beginning with someone that has already been in your life, because it does say your relationship can be healed. And for some of you, that is your relationship to yourself, right? Because sometimes when we have relationships where we are not valued and respected, we can end up having negative feelings even toward ourselves, that we allowed ourselves into that situation. But your strength here, water signs, is release. Let go of the past, an ending that makes way for new opportunities, time to move on. All right, so my water signs know when it's time to move on, and that is your strength, right? So you might give a lot for a long time, but when it is time to move on, you know. And right now, I feel like you definitely know that it is time for you to make a big change in your life, and you're doing it. The Chariot coming out. Some of you may have air in your chart. This also came out in the same position for my air signs. Success that comes from dedication and self-discipline, celebrating your accomplishments, being in the spotlight. So definitely a time, water signs, to celebrate all that you have achieved. You did not achieve everything that you wanted to achieve. However, you still have to celebrate all that has went right, all that you have done to get yourself where you are in this current moment. What is changing is the Five of Winter. Walk away from dishonest associations, realizing that what you thought you wanted isn't the best choice for your happiness, something that's not worth the effort. Okay? So with the Five of Winter coming out like that, water signs, I definitely feel like you have been going through it in your personal relationships. There could be people talk, gossip going on, and you've been carrying all of this. You've been carrying it on your back, and it's time to let it fall and let other people take accountability for what they've done, because I see that you've been kind of carrying the weight of everything that's went wrong in a connection or in multiple connections here. What you're not seeing in this current moment, water signs, is the Queen of Winter. Strong, patient, self-sufficient, funny. Let go of people or things that no longer serve you. Now is the time to focus on your career, unmarried or divorced individuals. And the Six of Winter, positive changes that are on the way. A welcome relief from troubled times, traveling or relocating. So I definitely feel like you are not seeing, water signs, that the moment you actually just say something is over, it's done, and remove yourself, that's when you really can move forward. So I feel like a lot of us have been hanging on to something, searching, seeking a resolution, closure in a situation. And you do have this Two of Summer that says your relationship can be healed. So I'm not saying that there can't be healing in some of these connections, but I really feel like this is about you. Like, when you speak the truth on this situation, when you speak your truth and you stand firm in it and you are unshakable, that's whenever you're able to move forward. And this is something that I feel like you're not seeing right now, because you may not be seeing yourself in the right light, right? You might not be seeing all of your positive attributes and all of the positive attributes that you've brought into a situation. All right, I'm definitely excited to see how this is going to go for all my water signs. I have a feeling that it's going to be different for all of you. So if you have, multiple placements in different water signs, make sure to watch for all of your placements. And let's go ahead and start this show, get the show on the road with Cancer, okay? Let's clarify these cards first for Cancer. Thank you for being here, Cancer. Okay, we have the Nine of Cups clarifying the World. So this is you really being pleased with yourself. This is you being right where you're supposed to be. Again, I do feel like for my water signs in general, I'm getting this energy of where you've accomplished a lot, but it wasn't everything that you wanted. And, I almost feel like you can see where it could have been more. And, where you maybe have made some choices along the way that made something not all that it could have been. And this could have involved other people. And so I definitely feel like you've been carrying these burdens, maybe even bitterness, resentment toward other people who didn't give as much as you gave. Exactly that. All right, to other people, you have really been holding on to this lack of reciprocity, and you have every right to feel upset and have feelings when you put something out there and it is not reciprocated, whether that is your love or your time. You gave something and your energy was not reciprocated, and that is painful. And you've been carrying this burden, but I definitely feel like it is time for you to focus on yourself, on the path ahead, and on what you truly desire. All right, the advice here being the Two of Summer and the Ten of Swords. So, this is you realizing that the worst of a situation is over. Your relationship with yourself can be healed, and that can open you up to be able to have these beautiful, loving, fulfilling connections with the Two of Summer. So I do feel like there is new love and a past person here for you, Cancer. Excuse me. But I definitely feel like there is this, this kind of uncomfortable energy where I definitely feel like because you've been combating a lot of negativity, you might be kind of feeling a little like puffed up right now in your ego of like, I'm so better than this situation, and that's valid, and you so are. However, I feel like we just need to not care about a situation. Easier said than done, but it's time to really let something go, let it end, offer forgiveness. Maybe there will be a conversation with someone in the past that will allow for some closure. But whether or not this situation happens, whether or not the conversation happens, we can bring healing to the situation just by acknowledging the truth and, declaring this done, dead, over with. 8 of Cups coming out, clarifying release. This is definitely you walking away from what no longer serves you. This is you, maybe feeling a bit lost, right? Feeling like you don't really know where to go from here, what you want to do next. I definitely feel like your faith has been shaken, but you still believe in your magic. You still are magical. You are on the mystic path, and that is something that can never be taken away from you. That is your strength. Okay, and I just heard a really weird like whistling sound that I think was something like coming through my air conditioner, but it was very weird and scary. Okay, so Cancer, I feel like you could be feeling like you're in a really weird space right now. And it could be at times bringing out certain energies that, I don't want to say that they're negative, but it's kind of, because I think it's ultimately a positive thing, but it is pushing you to really, be indulging in your ego a bit, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? The ego gets beat up on a lot, but we need to connect to our ego, and I see that that's what you're doing because you really want to do something that is fulfilling to you. You want to move forward in a way that feels empowering. You want to make sure that you're on the right path for you, and it's really hard to know if you're on the right path, and I feel that there's so much confusion and you're looking at all the different options, and I'm feeling for you, Cancer, that there's a bit of fear of being burned. You do not want to repeat a situation from the past, and it's almost like you're holding on to the past because if you let go of the past, then you need to open up a new chapter and you don't know what's going to happen, right? So this is where you really need to let it go, embrace the fact that the future is unknown, so you don't have to have all the answers, because you couldn't have all the answers if you tried. And by trying to have all the answers before you move forward, you are actually creating more conflicts in being able to move forward. Okay, but this is changing. I definitely feel like there's been tremendous growth here through situations that you've had to navigate with other people. You've really learned who you are. And, I feel like you've learned when it's time to kind of detach and be like, you know what, I don't want to be a part of that conversation. Please don't bring up this subject in front of me. I see you here. If someone's trying to pull you into workplace drama, this and that, you're kind of like, you know what, actually, I'm going to focus on my work right now. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not focused on this petty drama. At the same time, you do not have all the answers for what's going on with other people, so try to not judge people too harshly. I do feel like as you move forward and move yourself into a more peaceful energy, I see someone here chasing you down to try to tell you like their side of a story. So, you don't actually have all of the information right now, but I definitely feel like there is going to be more revealed to you. So, do be a little discerning in how you navigate a situation. I feel like focus on your work, focus on what you do know, focus on what you need to do right now, and break free. Try different ventures and experiences as a way to grow and learn. That is the last card I'm going to pull for you over this reading. This was for Cancer. Leave me a comment if it resonated, and make sure to follow so you can catch me on the next one, Cancer. If you're interested in a one-on-one session, the link is in the bio. I love you. Take care. All right, let's get into it now for Scorpio. This is for Scorpio. Thank you, Scorpio, for being here. I greatly appreciate you. And let's see, what does Scorpio need to know? Clarifying these messages for Scorpio. Internal energy, the world, and we are clarifying it with the Ace of Wands. So Scorpio, I feel like you know what you want right now, and you are really in this beautiful open energy to receive what it is that you want. I definitely feel like something's been a long time coming. You've really been waiting for something. You've had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations. You've really had to, be accountable to yourself and maybe even to a boss, to an employer, to someone, some sort of teacher. You've had to be accountable and do a lot of hard work, and that's probably been your story for the past 12 months or more, I'm feeling, for my Scorpios. But this is a new, fresh energy right now. You know what it is that you want, and you know what it is that you need to do to get what you want. All right. 10 of Spring and the King of Pentacles. Very interesting energy here. I do feel like this could be your energy, the King of Pentacles, but I almost feel like this is someone else who's been trying to lead you in a certain direction, because this person is very sure of themselves. They're very sure of their path. And I feel like, maybe for a while you haven't been really sure of yourself or sure of your path, and you may have been following this person, but their path is different than your path. You're not really meant to follow this person. I definitely feel like separating yourself from this person could be hard. For some of you, this could be a father figure, someone you look up to. Because I'm almost getting that energy of oh, this is your father figure who expected you to take on the family business, but that's not your path. So it's really burdensome for you to take that on. All right, your advice here, Two of Summer. Clarifying the Two of Summer. For Scorpio, we have the Fool. So this is about really getting romantic, right? The Fool is a romantic. The Fool has this beautiful white pure flower, and you know what they say, only fools fall in love. And especially if you've been hurt in love, right? There's a reason why we talk about young love, and young love is so beautiful. And it's not only because our government is run by pedophiles, it's also because young love is beautiful. When two young people are in love with each other, that is beautiful because they've never been hurt before. And so that's a beautiful thing. And I definitely feel like you are in this pure-hearted energy where you're freeing yourself from the past situations. You don't feel a need to compare a new person to a past person. You are really showing up in a very romantic energy, right? You're ready. You're ready for whatever love is going to bring your way. You know that love could mean pain, but you're choosing not to focus on that. You're choosing to focus on the love, and we love to see it. All right. We have the Nine of Pentacles coming out, and this is your strength. And we have let go of the past, right? This card that we pulled out for all water signs. An ending that makes way for new opportunities, time to move on. So I feel like you're moving on from following, this father figure. And this could even be, this King of Pentacles could even just be representing toxic masculinity and, everything that's wrong with the world. Because I just thought it was, interesting. I've been kind of in my head since I said that about, the pedos that run our government, which is just facts. Since I've said that, I was like, well, why'd you say that? You didn't need to say that. But I feel like there was a reason why I said this, because, as these things are coming to light, we are seeing that we've been lied to, right? And especially for people, that identify in a masculine energy, you have not been given very good examples to follow, right? And you may have had pressure put on you from this toxic masculinity that exists in our society that has made it really difficult for you to be feeling healthy and good in your life. Whether this is because you're connecting romantically with people who are embodying this toxic masculinity, or whether you are someone who this toxic masculinity is put on you and you're feeling like all you're good for is to work, work, work. Okay, but you're a human being, not a human doing. And for some of you, it could be both situations could resonate. But your strength here is knowing your worth and knowing that you do deserve to rest, and you deserve nourishing food to eat, and you deserve positive experiences. And knowing your worth and knowing what you deserve is allowing this situation to completely transform, and you are moving forward with the Chariot here. That is what's happening in this current moment. You are focusing on the path that you want to go down, and you are moving down this path. We have the Queen of Swords, and this is where you are open to listen. You're open to receive communication, but you have the sword up as well, and you are going to be discerning on who you actually let into your life. So, you may hear people out, why do you want to be in my life? But if you don't like their answer, you're going to close the door on that person. You're not going to let them in. You've transformed in this way through the things that you've been through, right? You've been through enough in your life that, you know what works for you, and you know what isn't going to work for you. And that's where your power is. The power that you have is in saying, this doesn't work for me, right? And that is changing, honestly, just being able to say that phrase, being able to say, hey, this doesn't work for me. That's changing your life. That is removing these dishonest associations from your life. It may leave you for a moment in a place where you are feeling paused, right, with the Two of Wands, but you're paused with good purpose. You're observing the world. You're observing, all of the places in the world, right? Like, I kind of mean that in a metaphor type of a way. So try to follow me here. I know it's not always easy here, Scorpio, but I feel like you're observing all the places that there are in the world and trying to figure out, well, where is my place and what is the place that I'm meant to take up? And so it's going to be a bit of a process here as you remove dishonest associations and things that are not for your highest good. There is going to be this moment where, if you've been on a certain path for a while and now you're going to switch it up, right? If you're saying, okay, this path I've been on for a while, it's not working for me. But there's going to be this moment where it's like, well, then what is working for me, right? And you'll figure that out. What you're not seeing here is that I do feel, Scorpio, this King of Cups is your energy. And I feel like, you've had to navigate a lot of heartbreak, and you don't always hold space for how much things have really hurt you, because you are capable of moving through the pain. But just because you can move doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. And if it hurts, it needs space held for it. So, I feel like what you're not seeing here is that, when you don't hold space for the pain that you've been through and acknowledge the truth of that pain, it's kind of like this little sea monster in the back that, it could always creep up and creep into any situation because you're not necessarily dealing with it. So I feel like that's something that you're not seeing, is that there's, you've sacrificed your heart for something here. And that's a sacrifice you can never make. So I definitely do feel like for my Scorpios, a lot of you may have focused on career and, not really wanted to focus on your love life. And that could be something that's been hurting you. But this is about you really getting real and looking at the world and seeing, what do you want your world to look like? Do you see yourself with a partner in love? Because if you do, now's the time to make space for that, not later, right? We live once, so you don't want to be like, well, what I really see, the vision I really see for myself is me and a partner, having a family, being in love. Maybe that's not it for you, but I'm giving you an example. If that's what you see for yourself, but then all you do is focus on work because you think you can't have one thing until you have the other, then you're going to be overburdened. You're going to be hurting yourself, and you're not fully realizing how much you are hurting yourself. Or for some of you, you may be focused on a relationships, but you're not you're not fully listening to your intuition. That's what's changing. You're going to be listening to your intuition a lot more. You're going to be calling people out a lot quicker. You're going to be using that phrase, "this doesn't work for me," a lot faster. And it is going to be removing those dishonest associations, which is going to clear a path for you to connect with people who are more authentic and more aligned and more able to meet you where you're at. So let's get you one last card here, Scorpio, and then we'll get into it for perfect Pisces. All right. This is for my sexy Scorpios. All right. What does my sexy Scorpios need to know? All right, we have a blessed change on the horizon. A major life change brings you great blessings. So don't be afraid to make a major change. With a major change comes major blessings. That's for you, Scorpio. I love you. Check me out on TikTok. Book a one-on-one session. Check out the link in the description box. Until we meet again, take care. All right, Pisces. Let's get into it. Let's clarify this reading for my perfect Pisces. All right, Pisces, what do we need to know? What does Pisces need to know? This is for Pisces. Clarifying the world for Pisces. We have Justice. I love this, Pisces. You are seeing things very clearly. And I feel like you haven't been seeing things clearly for a while because you have been going through a bit of an emotional time, feeling a bit lost. You could be having fears coming up. But I also feel like, these were other people's fears, so you're seeing something clearly. I feel like this is you observing the people in your external reality, and you see the burdens that they carry even when they don't see it. You see the fear in their energy. You feel it even when they don't acknowledge it. Okay, very interesting. Clarifying the 10 of Spring for Pisces. We have the Emperor. Okay, Pisces. So somebody here in your energy is extremely overburdened. This could be you. All right. The Emperor is definitely a dominant energy, right? This is a boss. This is a leader. This is, someone who could be a partner. But this is someone who is, very much focused on their vision, very much focused on their legacy, what they want, on what they are trying to accomplish. And this is someone who's been very overburdened. So this could be someone who's brought conflict into your life with all of the burdens that they were carrying. Okay, clarifying the 2 of Summer for Pisces. We have the Knight of Swords. So something is about to be revealed to you, Pisces. This could be a love confession. This could be gossip around a romantic situation, but information that you've been in the dark about is going to be revealed to you. And for some of you, you may be the one revealing some information. This could be you running in and telling somebody something that they need to know. All right, let's keep going here. We'll clarify that again if we need to. Okay, we got the 10 of Wands. So the 10 of Spring came out in the collective message, and now we're getting the 10 of Wands for the Pisces message. So same card, different deck, and this is coming out with release. So, you know, you have the strength here, Pisces, that you see the burdens that someone else is carrying. I feel like there's someone here that you care about a great deal. And, you know, I almost feel like you could be having revenge fantasies about someone here. Like, you really want to tell this person off. You want to tell them, I see all that you're carrying. I see your burdens. I got your number. And you know it. And I know it. You want to tell this person off. I feel like you've been pacing around your kitchen and you know, wheels are turning, okay? But your strength here is that you do see it. Like, look, your third eye is activated, right? So you see, you feel, you sense what is going on here. And you know what you deserve. So you're saying, you know what, I'm not going to carry this person's burdens. I see what their burdens are, and I see that they're choosing to carry it. And if that's how they want to be, then I'm choosing to separate myself from that person because I'm not going to carry it. If I have to release you so that I don't have to carry your burdens, that's exactly what's going to happen. Because Pisces, you have a path, right? And you can't be carrying other people's burdens. Because you need your load to be light enough that you can get on your chariot and go where you need to go. Clarifying the chariot for Pisces. Clarifying the chariot. We have the 6 of Wands. Yeah, it's time for you to win. I feel like Pisces, you may have decided to carry this person's burdens for a little bit, but you know, you realized that something wasn't fair, and so you were completely within your rights and, you know, in your integrity to remove yourself so that you can have a victory, right? If someone wasn't allowing you, if someone was having all these burdens and it didn't allow you to have a victory with them, then you said, you know what, I'm going to go and have my victory elsewhere. I don't need to follow this boss or follow this partner into their own demise because you saw it coming from a mile away. I feel like there is someone here who's going to be reaching out to you. That's why I said we will clarify this again if we need to. But I wanted to just get through this spread first and then go back up here. But for some of you, this definitely feels like someone who, you know, when you quit carrying their burdens for them, they started feeling and seeing things more from your perspective. All right, so what's changing is, you know, something having to do with this situation you walked away from. 2 of Swords. So, you know, this week, the week that you're watching this, Pisces, I do feel like someone could be coming forward with a message expressing, you know, potentially feelings of love. Someone could be saying to you, hey, this relationship can be healed, right? Because that's what this card said. So somebody could be saying, you know, I see things from your perspective now, Pisces, like this can be healed. But, you know, what's changing is you're not so sure about this person anymore because you've seen what you've seen and you can't unsee it, right? Even when you have a blindfold on, you still know what you know and you know what went on. And, you know, if someone was dishonest with you, you are not going to, you know, ever really be able to trust them in the way that you would have been able to trust them if they had never been dishonest. So, you know, even if your relationship can be healed, I feel like this week, you're not going to be able to make that decision easily. You're going to really be in your head about being able to trust this person. Can this really be healed? And do I even want to heal it? Because even if I heal it, it can only be healed so much. There's, you know, it can never be what it was when I fully trusted it. All right, but what you're not seeing is that someone here has very much been focused on what they didn't do, what they didn't accomplish when it comes to you. And they feel like you've, you know, went and grown and you're shining all on your own. And, you know, I feel like you don't see this because it's not, you know, this person isn't communicating this to you or putting it out there for you to see, but in their private mind, they are definitely thinking about you. They're very attracted to you, and they kind of feel like they blew it. So I feel like that's what you're really not seeing, but I feel like you will be seeing this. I do want to clarify one more for the Knight of Swords here, and 2 come out. So very interesting. Someone here could be revealing to you that they started something new with someone else. They could be trying to make light of it. They could be trying to say, well, it didn't really mean that much what I started with someone else here. But I just have a feeling that something's going to be really difficult for you to reconcile here, Pisces. You know, there's romantic feelings, but there is definitely a loss of trust, and I definitely feel like this person, you know, there will be conflict. As if you even engage with them more, there will be conflict because they're gonna notice that it's not the same, that you're not as open with them, that you're not sharing with them as much. All right, tell me more about this Queen of Pentacles. Okay, if this was someone who, you know, chose another option and now they're trying to come back and tell you that didn't mean anything, that person didn't mean anything to me, they didn't mean that much, or, you know, this and that, I feel like, you know, oh wow, all these cards coming out. I definitely feel like that's gonna be a deal breaker for you. For some of you, this person could be coming back and saying, you know, that you're the one for them, that you've always been, you know. So I feel like for some of you, there's been a person who's been trying to juggle between you, the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles, potentially an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. There could have been someone who was trying to juggle between these two energies. And, you know, they thought, well, it's okay if I don't give too much, then I can still keep juggling. But another person doesn't get to decide that, because if you've already put up a boundary that you want someone to be devoted solely to you, or, you know, then that's dishonest, right? So I feel like there's somebody here who, like, really justifies their behavior, but you're not going to let them do that, Pisces. So, you know, for all of you, it's going to be different. For some of you, this person's going to come to you with some information. You're going to have to correct them, but it still might be forgivable. You might be able to heal it. For others, especially if this person puts you in a third-party situation, you're going to be telling them hard no, hell no, and you're going to move forward on your own. But you could be having a conversation that will make things more comfortable for you, at least get things to an okay place, right? A place where, you know, you could say hi to this person if you pass them in the grocery store, right? But this is all about you moving forward and you getting what you deserve. So, you know, this person could come back and you could be saying, sorry, I deserve far better than whatever burdens and BS you tried to bring into my life. No, thank you. So a lot of you are choosing to go toward new love. But I do feel like all of you will be a bit torn because you're Pisces, right? You care. So if someone from your past is coming back, you are going to care, but be wise, right? Because I do believe people can change, but it doesn't happen that often. They have to want it on their own. And, so you're a Pisces, you're intuitive, trust yourself. You have a strong sense of justice here. That's part of who you are. So I don't feel like any of my Pisces that are watching this right now are going to put up with any BS. You want clarity, you want truth, and you're going to see through any, smoke and mirrors. You're not going to put up with it, but there's definitely going to be conversations happening. I feel like there's new love, past people, but there's conversations here that I definitely feel are going to be had, and they are going to leave you feeling a little bit stuck on what is the best choice for you. So just listen to your intuition, Pisces, and understand that if someone left you hanging, just because they've come back around doesn't mean you owe them an answer now, right? If they left you hanging, you can leave them hanging as well. You don't owe anybody anything, right? And if there's a new connection, you don't owe anybody to move at a pace outside of what is comfortable for you. You owe nothing to nobody, right? Only to yourself. You owe it to yourself to take the time you need to listen to your intuition and make the best decision for your life. Let's get one last card for you, Pisces. This was a beautiful reading, a bit intense, but if it was your reading, you already knew what you were going through. So, I'm not putting this on anybody. If you're like, that stuff's not going on in my life, then it's not, right? But honestly, this is beautiful because despite what's going on around you and these other people, it's all their BS, and you see it for what it is. So you're still able to move forward in your integrity. You are still moving into success and alignment. So, beautiful read truly for you, Pisces. I love you. Last card we have is self-forgiveness. Let go of old guilt and remember that you are God's perfect child. All right, so definitely let go of old guilt, Pisces, especially in a romantic situation. Like if you were dealing with this emperor who had all these burdens, you may not have addressed everything right. You could have been a little bit emotional, a little bit harsh even with your words, but you were totally, completely overburdened. This person put all this load on you and said, carry it, right? They had all these burdens that they brought to your doorstep and then they told you, carry it. All right, so what were you supposed to do, right? Forgive yourself. If you didn't handle yourself exactly perfectly, that don't mean that you have to take somebody back or give them another chance. Like, you did the best you could with an effed up situation that they created. So forgive yourself, Pisces. You are perfect always and forever. And that's what I have for you. Check me out on TikTok. Book a one-on-one session. Until we meet again, I love you. Take care.